Bam! Welcome to another episode of Mike Sports. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by Landry. Landry, how the hell are you tonight?
Interesting weekend of football.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, that was, what was that, week 5? I feel like some teams are starting to separate themselves. We're starting to kind of see, we're learning more about who teams are. And so with that in mind, I know we talked about it beforehand. We wanted to start off the show by listing our top 10 right now in the NFL.
Yeah.
So we're just going to hop right into
Would
it.
it be 3/4 through regular season?
Well,
I'm sorry, 1/4 or 1/3, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I guess it's around a third now. It would have been a quarter.
1/3.
Yeah, if it weren't for the.
So I figure every third we should redo our top 10, see where we're at.
Yeah.
We could do it halfway through the season, but what the hell fun is that?
Yeah, right. We got to do we want instant gratification.
All right. So leveling out our top 10. I'll let you do your top 10 first.
All right. Well,
10.
yeah, we'll go back and forth, and yeah. All right, number 10, I have the Green Bay Packers.
I have the Kansas City Chiefs. So
Okay.
why do you pick Green Bay right now as number 10?
Look, I do like the way Aaron Rodgers is playing. Them and the Bengals, who were just on the outside of my top 10 list. Just a little spoiler, they don't quite make my top 10. But both of them kind of subscribe to the attitude that I've had for years, in that kickers aren't people. We don't like our kickers.
Holy shit, by the way. 6 missed kicks.
Yeah.
And they took the 7th one to do it. That was anyone's game based on kicks.
Yeah. I mean, look, and if the Bengals had won, maybe they'd have had every right for them to be included on my list instead of the Green Bay Packers. But Packers did win, and so I put the Packers there at number 10. Who's your number 10?
I go with Kansas City because Kansas City's got some problems, and people need to get over what they were, because they are struggling. There's something wrong going on there. The first thing that steps out right away to me is their defense just doesn't look very good. The second thing that stands out to me is Mahomes just doesn't look comfortable. Something's either he's got an injury that's unspoken, or his offensive line's just not keeping it together and he's got too much pressure going on. Whatever it is, Kansas City looks uncomfortable as a team.
Okay. All right. So my number 9, you may disagree with how low that I have them, but is the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Look, I like what they're doing. And see, my top 10, I feel like everybody on that top 10 list, they're all either meeting or exceeding expectations right now.
Okay.
And the Cowboys, to me, are exceeding expectations. I thought they'd be good. I thought they'd win the NFC East. I thought they'd be good for the NFC East. They're just good overall. I think, as much as it pains me to say it as an Eagles fan, I think it's just time to acknowledge them as a good football team.
Yeah, I think they finally have put things together. I do have some concerns. But I'll get to that when I get to where they are on my list. My number 9 is the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
The reason I have the Browns at number 9 is for good reasons. Most people might think that's low in the list. I'm like, no, that's high in the list for the Cleveland Browns, in my opinion.
Well, look, it's a top 10.
The company.
Everybody on this list is good.
Yeah, given the company. Is Baker Mayfield is playing solid football. I wouldn't say great, but he's playing solid football. But, man, the Browns defense is bringing it. Those dudes are chunking people around. They look good. The Browns offense, I think, is playing decent, solid football, but right now I think the Browns defense is making them stand out.
Yeah, if you ask which side of the ball are they really exceeding expectations, I think it's the defense that's really exceeded on Cleveland.
Now, what we'll do is when we get to another pick, like number 8, and if you've already picked this team and said a lot of good things about them, I'm going to skip that and just talk about the negative.
Sure. Okay.
That way we're not just sitting here doubling down on positivity on the team.
Understandable. All right,
Unless it's your personal team, then you can do whatever. All right, so number 8, who you got?
My number 8, the Baltimore Ravens. Somehow, despite the bazillion injuries that they have, and that's an exact count, bazillion, they somehow just keep winning football games. And, I mean, giving you tremendous games. Somehow they find a way to win against a Colts team that I think played better than them.
I've said in my last 2 segments with you that the Ravens are being underrated.
Yeah.
They're better than people are giving them credit for.
I'd agree with that.
Okay, my number 8 is the Green Bay Packers. So you've already said some things about them. So that's just my pick for number 8. Let's go to number 7.
All right, number 7, I have the Tennessee Titans.
Ooh.
And
so we know, Tennessee Titans aren't even on my list.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, well, you got the Titans.
See, I just like when that team's humming, and I think that team has had some trouble with consistency this year, and so that would be my big negative to them.
Mm-hmm.
But man, when things are working, things are working. Like they go into Seattle, and at that point was an impressive win. Whenever you go into Seattle and win, that's impressive. Yeah. Like they've had some good wins this year. I want to see them string together a couple wins in a row. But yeah, just that offense, and they're very talented. They're capable of putting it together for a nice run.
Well, since they're not on my list, I'll go ahead and say what I think about them, since I won't be talking about them later on my list. Right now, they're just playing inconsistent football for me. I'm with you on when they hum, but when they don't hum, they suck. And that's a reversal of the team I saw last year that was pretty consistent. Granted, once we get into December, we'll really know who's humming and who's not and who's consistent. But for right now, they just, to me, given the company, aren't a top 10 football team.
Okay. So then who did you have then at number 7?
I got the Chargers at number 7.
Okay.
I think the Chargers are playing – the best word I can use for the Chargers, are playing smart football. They look intelligent. They look like they got their fundamentals down. They're not flashy. They're not doing crazy stuff, but they're doing enough to hold down the fort to be a contender. And to me, that right now they're doing better than the Browns in Kansas City, and I have them slightly above Green Bay.
Yeah, I agree with all that. You'll see the Chargers later in my list.
Okay.
Where are we at? Okay, number 6. I have the Cleveland Browns at number 6. And, I mean, again, a lot of things you talked about. Love the balance that they can bring on offense and the way their defense has been playing. The struggles has been the turnovers, Baker Mayfield. I still wonder, 2 minutes, the game on the line, can Baker Mayfield take his team down and win the game?
Yeah. I mean, that's what, look, Baker last year in the Steelers game and that playoff game, I think showed a lot of who he is. I think given a little more – my problem with Baker's always been maturity. I've just never felt he's the most mature quarterback. I think as the league humbles him, he will mature naturally, which to me will make him end up being a really good quarterback. I don't think he'd be a great quarterback, but he's going to be a good quarterback for the Browns.
Oh, sure. And look, with what Cleveland's trying to do on that team, like with the balance they have on offense and what they have right now on defense, a good quarterback is really all they need. They don't need like the Patrick Mahomes quarterback. They need somebody who's going to be consistent, smart with the football, make good decisions.
Yeah, their defense is holding down the fort most of the time, so they really just need a good game manager on the other side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
My number 6 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay. Well, then we might as well just say they were my number 5 team, so we can just talk about the Bucs right now.
Okay.
Look, I mean, for all the reasons you point out, like about the Bucs, their defense, a lot of injuries so far on their defense, and hasn't been as consistent.
They're definitely not the defense of the Super Bowl to me right now. They're not playing Super Bowl form defense.
It kind of reminds me of last year, where it's like early on, you didn't see that vaunted Bucs defense. But then as the season progressed, I wonder if we're going to see them grow the same way they did last year.
Yeah. I mean, once we saw them at the Saints and Green Bay, we really saw their defense come out and shine. But in the beginning game, you're right, against the Saints, they did not come out and shine, that defense. They look sloppy. They look, it's weird right now, the Bucs, to me, because they should have the best chemistry, maybe other than the Cowboys, because of how long the Cowboys, most of the players have been there together now. But the Bucs should have the best chemistry in the league right now. And
returning all 22 starters.
Not gelling everywhere as I expected. Offensively, I think they're okay. They're led by Tom Brady. It's going to be hard for them offensively never not to be okay. But defensively, I question who they are compared to last year.
Agreed. So, okay, who's your number 5? Because I just told you that.
My number 5 is the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, yeah. And for a lot of the reasons we talked about.
I now can say I believe Lamar Jackson is a real threat in the NFL. I think this guy has turned the corner on being that crazy running quarterback. And there were a couple of plays where he kept running where he didn't quite look himself. He was tripping. He tripped, I think, 3 times in that game, slipped on another. And I think as quarterbacks learn in the NFL, as that running game slows down for him and he stays in the pocket and matures in the pocket a little more, and he's more of like a 25% scrambler instead of 50% one, I think we're going to see Lamar improve and keep growing and get better. And he's got the monkey off his back, He's beat the teams that have set out to beat him consistently. He's now beat both of them.
Yeah.
So I think he's feeling pretty comfortable right now. I like what I see.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with everything that you've said so far about the Baltimore Ravens. Like they've been to me, it's been surprising. I thought they'd be good. I didn't think they'd be this good.
Yeah, hey, look, the debate is, did the Colts lose it or did the Ravens win it? I mean,
I think it's a little
pretty
bit
big loss.
Yeah.
But I think it was a pretty good balance of both.
Yeah.
The Colts looked like they gave up some plays where they just kind of shrunk down in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't play fundamentally that different than they did in the half. It's just the Ravens started playing better to me in the second half. So to me, the Ravens won it.
Yeah, and I also think the Colts didn't capitalize enough on some of their opportunities in the first half. Mm-hmm. They needed to be up even further on Baltimore to be able to weather that storm in the second half.
Well, and I think, Carson Wentz was trying to not look so good, so maybe that the Eagles will trade for him later in his career.
Maybe that'll help. Yeah.
There we go.
Sure.
All right.
Okay, so my number 4 is the LA Rams.
Mine
I've been.
too.
Oh, well, okay.
There. See, right now, that's why I'm like, since we're in the top 4, the 4 teams I have, you've only named one of those, so we might be in conjunction.
Yeah, I feel like we're probably pretty close lockstep. Yeah.
Okay. Why do you got the Rams? What have the Rams done for you?
So, I mean, to me, they've been as advertised, that Sean McVay offense, and seeing the play of Matt Stafford. Excuse me.
You don't like Matt Stafford that much? You had to do the tongue for Matt Stafford. Yeah, you must not like this guy.
It's funny. I made a comment to somebody at work, and ever since then, I've had a little trouble, and it'll make sense when I explain it. So I started comparing Matt Stafford before his trade from Detroit to Sam Bradford. And so, basically saying great talent, but just what has he ever done? And I felt like that, which quarterback am I talking about, Matt Stafford or Sam Bradford? And so it actually became a thing where every time I started to say Matt Stafford, mentally I wanted to say Sam Bradford. And I'm like, I don't want to do that to the guy. I don't want another Freudian slip like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but yeah, I've been big on him. I thought that the Rams made the right decision going all in on Matt Stafford.
Shit, I thought Matt Stafford made the right decision by getting the hell out of what I call disastrous crap bullshit Detroit, which I think is just a freaking dumpster fire. Not only as a team, the city, the politics, the way that place is run into the ground and looks like a freaking desert city. I think Matthew Stafford is now in a place where he can thrive instead of survive.
And I feel like he's with a coach now that, that great mind of Sean McVay working with Matt Stafford, it's been a treat to watch it this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, my number 3 team is one of the teams that you mocked me when I picked them, but they're the only reason they're at 3 instead of 4 is
wait. Let me tell you my number 3.
Okay. You want to go Cardinals? Yes, that's my team, the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
Look, Kyler Murray, that offense is humming. They are making plays, but more importantly, man, that defense has been getting after it. They get after the quarterback, and they get after the quarterback only rushing forward. They don't have to blitz that much. Mm-hmm. And then on the back end, they're covering everybody. They're just playing.
Look, the Cardinals to me are a fundamentally good freaking football team that's playing some good football right now. Like I said, I think they'll fall flat come wintertime when it counts. I think they'll start to fold up and not look so good.
Well, that's always been the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like, hey, it's great right now, but Arizona come wintertime, I don't know about all that.
Okay. So,
but I don't deny what I see with my own eyes, and right now they look good.
Yeah, sure. That's a fair statement. All right. Number 2 is the LA Chargers. They are my number 2 team. They went into Kansas City and won, although that's starting to look less and less as an impressive victory.
Who did they lose to,
though? Who did they lose to?
Who did the Chargers lost to?
Yeah, that's a great question. The Cowboys.
My number 2. What do you know?
Okay, no, that's fair. Look, and I'll be the first to admit that me putting the Cowboys as far down as I did, maybe a little bit of that, that NFC.
Yeah, look, if I was if I wasn't a Cowboy fan,
Mm-hmm.
I'd still have him at number 2. But if I was someone who was like on the fence, I'm not believing all the hype and whatnot, I still probably have him at number 4, 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have him a couple notches back if I thought what I'm seeing right now isn't going to last. But my number 1, well, let me stick with my Cowboys real quick. Let me say why I think they're number 2.
Sure.
Because I said I had some concerns earlier, and I want to note that because that could change where they stand, 5-6 weeks from now. They have a pretty good schedule as far as who they're playing. I think they can beat the majority of the teams. I mean, I think I could see them with a 10-11 win season here with the way things are looking.
Sure.
What I have a problem with the Cowboys is they are slow starters still. They're not getting it done in the beginning. Their fourth quarter has been their worst quarter by far in every game so far. And they play some sloppy football sometimes where they fumble it down by the end zone. Or, like Lamar Jackson in the game where he kept running the one and then all of a sudden he's just fumbling at the 1-yard line for God knows what.
Right. Or not getting in against the Eagles on Monday night. Yeah.
Right. Now, look, Diggs is a freaking vacuum cleaner. That dude sucks the ball out of the air in his own hands. Parsons is everything we thought he'd be. But the problem I have right now is the reason I would never put them at number 1 right now, even though they're playing, to some people, number 1 football in the league, is with a sloppy first quarter. To me, you play a fundamentally good football team in a playoff, and that first quarter will cost you.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to come back.
So I can't put you at number 1 right now. I can't put you at number 1, and that's just me being the unbiased person I am. I'm sure a lot of people will be like, "Hey, until they lose, to a really good football team again, like they did when they lost to the Bucs, then I'm riding their coattail." No, because my number 1 right now is the Buffalo Bills.
Mine too, baby. Bills Mafia.
They are putting on a clinic on teams they are playing. And they are a team that does play good winter team football.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they have a couple losses on their belt, and I don't know the Buffalo Bills schedule, actually. That's something I want to look at right now.
Okay, if you're bringing it up, I'll talk about the reasons why I think the Buffalo Bills are the number 1 team right now in the National.
We're playing the Titans coming up. That's going to be a good fight.
That is, on Monday night. Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Okay.
Which we can get into that here in a minute when we start previewing this week's slate of games. But yeah, dude, I love what Josh Allen is doing.
Look at these scores: just 35-0, 43-21, 40-0, 38-20. I mean, they've scored almost 40. They've averaged, if you average that out, that's 40 points a game.
Yeah, they are
humming.
They are pretty good.
Now, let me look at their schedule. I think they can – the Titans will be a toss-up. That's a 50-50 win to me with them. They can beat the Dolphins. They can beat the Jaguars. They can beat the Jets. They can beat the Colts. The Saints will be a good match. That's a 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
They can beat the Patriots. The Bills and the Bucks. Oh, we're going to get to see –
that's going to be a good one.
That's going to be a good one. Okay. They can beat the Panthers. They can beat the Pats. They can beat the Falcons. They can beat the Jets. I only see 3 possible total losses on the schedule. They literally could be a 13 or a 14-3 team by the end of the season.
Yeah.
And have first seed maybe.
Oh, absolutely. If they're 14-3 at the end of this thing, they're the number 1.
Even if they're 13-4, they would probably still get first seed.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That's right. The road to the Super Bowl is going through Orchard Park.
How cool would it be to see a Buffalo Bills and Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl rematch from the 90s?
Actually, that would be really awesome.
Yeah, that would. I was thinking about that.
Time
cool.
the Buffalo Bills win it all. I mean, they're one of those franchises that, no matter who they're playing, even if it wasn't the Cowboys, whether they were playing the Bucks.
Oh, shit. I mean, So if you could have the Bills play a team in the Super Bowl, who would you like to see them go against?
I think it's just the Bucks. I would like because it's just Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
Knock the pedestal off. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, with Tom Brady, you never knock him off. You just rock it. He hangs off the cliff, climbs back up there, and gets ready for the next year.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what, when the Eagles beat the Patriots, I know it always comes back to when the Eagles beat the Patriots. Yeah. I really thought that was like one of those defining moments of we slayed the beast, and that was the end of Tom Brady. But then, like a phoenix, he just rises up.
Because people forget the game was actually pretty close in the end there. Because the Eagles put on such a stellar performance. It almost seems like that the Pats weren't even in that game. But I'm like, yeah, if you go back now, they were very much in that game. They were close to bringing it right back. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, they had the lead. The Eagles started driving. There was a 4th and 1, and I remember it was around midfield, and I remember there was about 4.5 minutes to go, and my dad and I briefly having the debate: do you go for it or punt it there? And I said, you got to go for it because if you punt it, I don't think you're getting this football back.
God, and I got to wonder if y'all did lose that Super Bowl, how much of Peterson would have been blamed, and then if he would have got fired sooner and this downward spiral would have started sooner, or if it would have been Nick Foles never won a Super Bowl. Carson Wentz still thought he was the guy that they were going to look at to do it. If that would have been a different psychology for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, hey, look, in the end, I think things work out the way they're supposed to, and the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and all is right in the world. And here we are 4 years later, and I'm still talking.
I think Hitler said something similar about the Jews. All right, so back to the schedule. Let's get.
All right, yeah. Let me bring up the NFL schedule here. All right, my phone went into sleep mode, so. Well, we know what the Thursday night game is, but we'll talk about that towards the end of the show.
Correct.
Who do the Cowboys have this week?
Hold on one sec. Let me get all my stuff loaded.
Yeah, my stuff's not loading either. You gotta love technology.
Okay. Yeah. The Cowboys playing the Pats this week.
Oh, good game.
Easy one. Easy. We're gonna dominate the Pats.
All right. Well, let's start with the Dolphins at Jaguars in London. Those poor people in London, man. They get 2 games, back-to-back weeks. Yeah. And they combined for of the 4 teams, they combined for 4 wins between them.
Yeah. Hey, and Urban Meyer off the hook. John Gruden took his spot as the spotlight. Now he's like, I can go back to coaching. No one cares about my little lap dance. I got a dude over here writing shitty ass emails.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for real. Honestly, I think he did Urban Meyer a favor. I think Urban Meyer's job will be saved because the attention is now going to shift and be so focused on John Gruden and what happened there, which we can talk about later. Sure. That I think Urban Meyer's going to go back to normal over here. All I have was a lap dance. I didn't offend nobody.
Who cares about a silly lap dance from a 19-year-old?
My wife was the only person I had to answer to in the end of this, which probably wasn't an easy conversation.
Yeah, I was at a bar. She danced on me. Trust me, there's been worse.
It's probably like, look, I have another kid coming. We need to take this seriously. So we need to get back to football and making money.
So, okay, who do you like, Miami or Jacksonville? Okay, who do you hate less?
I'm going to go with Miami. Man, I want to see Urban Meyer get a freaking win. But I'm going to go with Miami just because I think the Jaguars are mentally distracted right now because of what happened.
Yeah. And Tua looks like Tua is coming back this week. Although I don't know if that's really the best thing for them. Jacoby Brissett, I think, has been playing better.
Yeah. And rumors are that Miami is making a big push for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
I've heard that. They're actually pushing for him now. It's not just rumored.
Not good.
Tua's got to be feeling great about himself. Like, hey, man, I'm irreplaceable. I'm young. I'm a stud. But, man, I can't give massages like this cat coming in is if they're going to bring him over here.
Yeah, I agree. I'd actually think Tua plays well. I think he's playing look, this next stretch, this is career defining for Tua Tagovailoa. If you're going to make it in this league, really, you have to have a solid stretch here, because whether it's Deshaun Watson or another rookie quarterback through the draft at some point, the Dolphins at a certain point they're going to say, look, man, you're maybe just not the answer. And so, that's why I think this is an important stretch for him. I think it starts.
What do you think? I mean, do you think Tua is the answer for them, or are you kind of like?
No, I don't. But I
don't see it. I think he thought he was going to be like Kyle Murray, and he's just not.
Right? Yeah, he's just not.
Yeah,
he's a slower version and not as strong an arm.
He's just a little too blocky of a player for me.
Yeah, maybe that's the right term for it. He's just blocky. But I do think that Miami wins on Sunday.
Okay.
All right. The Chargers at the Ravens. Ooh, this is going to be a good game.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the Ravens. That's a home field advantage game. I think right now Ravens are going to ride some momentum. I think Chargers are going to suffer, I think, their second loss of the season. Yeah. I think it's going to be their wake-up call game, that they're not as good as they'd like to be yet. They still have a lot of improving to do.
Long trip.
Whereas the Ravens, I think, are going to go through the opposite. They are as good as they think they can be, and they're going to show it again.
It's a long trip out east for a team from Southern California coming out to play Baltimore. Weather's going to be a little cooler, although I don't think it's supposed to rain or anything. But yeah, I just think this is one of those games where maybe a younger Charger team starts to learn, hey, it's going to take a lot to win in this league.
Yeah, no doubt.
So yeah, but I agree with you on Baltimore. All right, Minnesota at Carolina.
Dude, I don't know what the hell. Minnesota obviously pulled one out, but they are. I don't know what's happened to them in general. They just do not look like a good football team anymore to me. So I'm going to go with the Panthers in this game because I think the Panthers actually are a better football team than they're given credit for.
Yeah, I mean the Panthers had a bad loss to Philly with the Eagles coming in there
and the Cowboys.
Right.
They suffered 2 big losses. Yeah. We were probably the tip of the iceberg downfall for them. Obviously, they were undefeated when they played us. And the Eagles just solidified that they are beatable. And now their confidence is probably a little shot. But if there's any team you could probably pull that off with other than the Jets and the Jaguars, it's probably the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, and another team that maybe you'd be able to pull that off with is the team hosting the Cincinnati Bengals this week, and that is the Detroit Lions.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be the Bengals bounce back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. The Lions are basically going to, be in the unemployment line like Detroit's been for 1,000 years, and the Bengals are coming to feast.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Why is my thing like all of a sudden went twitchy on me? All right. Next up, the Green Bay Packers in Chicago to play the Bears.
Chicago doesn't look good. I know they got their boy in there. They just don't look as good as they could. I mean, Green Bay is looking solid. I don't even think Green Bay is going to slaughter them. I just think Green Bay is going to win.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those games where you're thinking, oh, man, Chicago's kind of hanging in there with them. They're playing good physical ball. And then all of a sudden you look up and the Packers are up by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to go 3 touchdowns, but I think it's going to be one of those Chicago's going to look good for a little while, and then it's going to be a 13-point spread, and it's not going to matter.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, Houston at Indianapolis.
Easy win for the Colts here.
Yeah.
Houston's morale is shot. Their quarterback controversies jacked up. Their defense, ever since that Bills game, just doesn't look the same. They look like they got morale shot in that game. I mean, someone put up 44 on you. You start to just not feel good about yourself, question your life.
Yeah, you question life decisions at that point.
Yeah, all of a sudden you need more massages than you used to get. And Deshaun Watson's the only guy to give it, but he's nowhere around. It's just the Houston Texans just look like shit. They're living up to what they were before Mott Schaub had that little run with them for a while where it looked like they were a decent team. Now they look like the pre-team to that to me again, where they're just no one believes. No one has we all like the coach, but no one believes. We don't have a quarterback that's steady, young, and going to carry our franchise for the next 7-8 years. So no one believes. Our defense, J.J. Watt, him leaving, some of the words he left when he left there, we just look like a shot football team. The city has no faith. The Astros they're riding the Astros like crazy because no one wants to say anything about the Texans.
Yeah, I agree with you. The line's 10 points, and I think they'll cover that easily.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but the Houston Texans are the Detroit Lions of Houston. It's just that's how it feels.
Yeah. That's maybe the strongest statement you've made yet about the Texans.
Yeah, look, I was sitting next to someone last week watching the game. One of the things they said is, God, it's just depressing. Like, we know we're going to lose, even when it looks like we might win. We still just in the back of our mind, something's going to happen. We're not a good enough football team. Yeah. It's just there's a depression almost about the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I've been there about my Eagles, so I know how that goes. Mm-hmm. All right. Kansas City Chiefs at the Washington Redskins. I don't care what anybody says, they're still the Redskins.
Yeah. So the Washington Redskins, I don't know what happened to them either. They're one of those teams where I'm going, man, you're like the Vikings. You just completely fell off somewhere.
They were going to be good this year.
And you're not poking up anymore. Could this be a bounce back game? Could it be a game where they said, let's step up? Could be, but probably not. So I'm going the other direction.
Yeah, I'm going Kansas City. I think it's more of a bounce back game for the Chiefs. Everybody's ready to write them off and write them for dead. I think this is a game Kansas City comes out and reminds everybody, hey, we're still
alive. We've got a great head coach. I'm still Patrick Mahomes. Here's the deal. This is what I worried about people when Patrick Mahomes is playing and he wants that Super Bowl. People are like, oh man, this guy's so good. This team is so good. This could be a 4-5 winning Super Bowl team. Crazy. That's why you never get caught up in the current year until you see enough of it in the next couple of years. I don't think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to even get to the championship game. I think they'll get knocked off by the Bills or the Ravens somewhere before they even get there.
Yeah, I agree. I do think they'll make the playoffs.
Oh yeah, no, they'll make the playoffs for sure. I don't see an AFC championship game for the Kansas City. I see them second round, not the semifinals. What am I thinking of? Quarters. I see them in the quarterfinals. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I agree with you. I think Kansas City wins this week, but yeah, I worry about them long term. All right, we already talked about Minnesota, Carolina. Rams at the Giants.
Man, look, I don't even like the Giants, and I felt sorry for how many injuries they got in one game.
Right.
Barkley, their quarterback, the Cowboys laid a licking on good old Daniel Jones, thought, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a Dak Prescott. I'm going to try to put my helmet down and bring it on in. I'm like, dude, look, you're tall, you're fast, but you weigh $105 by the way you look, lanky. You're going against linebackers that are basically folding you up like hot laundry. I don't see it. And the Giants, I told you I thought they're crap at the beginning of the year. They had moments of spark, but overall they just like Saquon Barkley. I think they said he had a sprained ankle. Daniel Jones is out on concussion protocol. And they weren't a very good team with those guys in. So with those guys maybe out, a landslide victory.
Yeah, I think this is a 2.5 to 3 touchdown game.
Yeah, no, easy. Yeah, this is 21 point smackdown. And if anybody watched that game, that was probably the biggest rival to the Dallas Cowboys from a tension, like the tension in the atmosphere between the team. A lot of fistfights in the stadiums every time that Cowboys and Giants meet. People might think it's the Eagles. They might think it's some of the other teams. It's not. For some reason, when the Giants and the Cowboys mix, there's always throwdowns, fights, nasty words, hate.
I think it's Giants fans because that happens in Philadelphia too.
Yeah. I think it's the whole New York attitude.
Yeah.
We're in New York. Who the hell are you?
Yeah. You're probably right about it. All right. So next up, this is going to be a good one. The Cleveland Browns and the Arizona Cardinals, 2 teams that we both had featured on our top 10 list. Again, colliding.
And who's at who?
That is in Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Browns. Go with the Browns in that game.
Yeah. You know what?
And if the Cardinals do pull it off,
yeah,
good for them. But the Browns are kind of in that, hey, we lose another game, we're coming back to the tied losing side of the fence.
Right.
We win this game, we're up 2 games on a winning season. And I think they're starting to feel that little bit of edge, like, oh crap, we're starting to slowly slip away if we don't pull back real quick here. So,
right. And then, if they were to lose to Arizona, all of a sudden Baltimore creeps up on them. Mm-hmm. Cincinnati's creeping up on them. And hey, Pittsburgh's been playing good football recently.
Hey, and if the Cardinals, lose, they're going to go, we got 1 game in our record that we lost. It's all right. Keep going.
Yeah.
I don't see it. In other words, I think the lack of hunger could get the Cardinals in this one.
Right. I think this is a case of the more desperate team, the team that needs it more.
Yep.
And that's Cleveland. Yeah.
Ooh, good game. Rival game coming up here.
Yeah, the Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos.
Which gives us room to talk about the major event going on in the NFL.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. John Gruden, of course, emails surfacing, where he made reference to was the player or the union president and some racist emails about some comments about him.
Well, they say it's racist because of what he said about his lips, but anybody who doesn't know what rubber lips are, it's basically leaking lips, basically saying you run your mouth all the time, rubber lips, like tires hitting the pavement. They want to make it into a racial thing. Whatever. They don't have any other emails from Gruden that point out racism other than that one thing. Now, the other emails I haven't been able to see when it comes to them saying him talking about transsexuals and gays and stuff like that. So I can't speak to that until I see some of those.
Right.
I think he called Goodell a queer is where that came from. And I think personally, Goodell's probably the one that leaked those emails out in the end.
Yeah, and I mean, look, we all know, and whatever your feelings are about not liking using, sexual preferences as a way to insult or question somebody's masculinity, we know that there are different connotations, right? Like, you can like saying somebody, oh man, they're so freaking gay. That is not the same as attacking homosexuality, like
Yeah.
in that way of life.
Well, look, and here's my thing. My
Yeah.
problem with the NFL on this is you have players who have beaten women, gone to town on racial things, had guns, and they're still playing NFL football. You have a guy who has 24 women against him, and he's still eligible to be on the field if the Texans were to put him on the field. So I have a problem with emails from 10 years ago when he wasn't even in the position he's in right now, but
Right.
that's what he's being attacked for. I have a problem with you giving rappers and people like that a chance who have slung stuff about women left and right in their songs, but yet they're still singing out at football stadium. I see too much hypocrisy from me to say John Gruden should be punished by the NFL. But what I will say is a team is allowed to do whatever they want. If an owner doesn't want you to be his coach anymore, an owner don't want you to be your coach. I personally think Davis looked at this and said, this is a good chance for me to get out of a 10-year contract that doesn't look like it's in an upward swing to me anyways. So yeah, I think he took it. That's my personal opinion. I don't think he really gave a shit about the emails in the end. I think they could have weathered that storm based on the apology and said, hey, there's a lot worse players playing in the NFL that have done a lot worse in current day than 10 years ago from an email. But I think he said, hey, I'm not seeing the trajectory I want to see right now. And I got 6 more years with this dude. I can get out and save myself $70 million and go get another coach.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you.
I think that's the real story about
this.
This.
Sure.
That's the real story, if people are being honest.
Yeah, he saw a way out. And I don't even necessarily blame him for it. Yeah. Like that, he felt like, okay, this is a good. No, I'm not going to get any backlash and have it look like I made a terrible mistake by hiring this coach. When 4 years into a 10-year deal, I fire him, but I can use the guys that, oh, it's because he used these racist terms in these emails, or to be racist or homophobic. Now I do know. He said something in one of the emails, something to the effect about how the Rams at the time, Jeff Fisher, should not have been pressured to select Michael Sam, the first openly gay football player to come out from college. And
I wasn't aware he was pressured.
I was not.
If he was, either. Then that's wrong on Goodell's part.
To me. Like people who sit there and say, "Oh, well, what's the big deal with 7th round pick?" You think every pick that makes it in the NFL is a 1st round pick? Dak Prescott, a 3rd round pick, the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, picked 199 in the 6th round. You get product. Every one of those picks counts. Why would you spend a single draft pick, a single bit of draft capital on somebody you don't believe is going to make your football team better?
Now, I'd like to see the proof.
Sexual preferences.
The same way I'd want to see more proof about other things. I want to see proof he was pressured if that indeed did happen. And if it did, then I think Roger Goodell should have to answer for that.
Sure.
Yeah. You shouldn't be telling teams or influencing teams to do anything as far as player personnel on the field. You want to talk about coaching staff, diversity, whatever. You can do all that all day. But when it comes to players on the field, that's a product of you want the best, and it should never be because pressure to get somebody who was not as qualified as someone standing next to them. Now, hey, if he was the best option and pressure had nothing to do with it, I have no problem with it. But if pressure had something to do with it, that should also be exposed in this whole thing.
And I have a real problem with it because to me, this is about if I'm a fan of the LA Rams or the St. Louis Rams at the time, and we're using one of our draft picks on a PR stunt, that's going to piss me off. Because at the time, I remember when all that thing came out, and his whole thing was he was an edge pass rusher, and his job was he went after quarterbacks. And I remember hearing, oh, yeah, Michael Sam's come out as openly gay. I said, that's cute. Can he get to the quarterback? I don't give a shit about that, about his sexual preference.
Well,
your job.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I would have said. So,
yeah. Yeah. So, like, I agree.
So, in the end of the day, do I think John Gruden should have been fired or punished by the NFL with this? Absolutely not. He apologized. It's from a long time ago. If people's past are going to be the reason why they currently need to be ridiculed or not have jobs, and they apologize once something's brought to their attention, then as adults, we all need to move on. That's the end of it.
Yeah, like, I mean, look, a lot of things like there's a lot of things, a lot of opinions that I had 10 years ago that I don't have anymore. Does that mean every opinion that I voiced 10 years ago is now subject to public ridicule and I'm going to be forced to answer for
and even if it was his opinion, if the team still wants to keep him and thinks he can still be a good coach and productive, who cares at this point?
Yeah, if he can walk into that locker room with some of the things that were said and talked about in those, and he can still demand the respect.
Yeah. And it's up to it's up to the owners in the end. It's not up to. It shouldn't be. I would like the NFL to get out of people's business because they remind me of like federal government pushing their will onto states and states being the teams, federal government being the NFL. The problem I have with the NFL is if it's not against the law, then why are you punishing people? Because that tells me you're inventing your own law, and I don't agree with that. We have a society that creates laws that we think are right and wrong. It's not the NFL is not that person.
Completely agree. All right, let's move on. I think we
only have a couple more people on the schedule.
Yeah. So the next game up that I have for us is Seattle at Pittsburgh on Sunday Night Football. Russell Wilson not going to be able to play in this game.
Pittsburgh, all the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at Pittsburgh and Russell Wilson's not the quarterback. Done game. I mean, why even show up?
Yeah, look, this is one of those things. Like, if you're the Carolina Panthers, if you're I'm trying to think. Someone like another football team looking to contend this year that's thinking maybe you were on the fringe of being able to make the playoffs. This just kicked that door wide open, and now I got to feel like there's some teams that are going to have a chance to make the playoffs that maybe you wouldn't have thought of before.
Yeah, I mean, not only that. I mean, it's just. Most of Seattle's games have been, kind of closeout games in the last 10 minutes of the game. And it's usually been because of Russell Wilson, not because of defense or special teams. Russell Wilson's figured something out. Without him in the game, I'm not saying Seattle can't win because Steelers to me aren't the best team in the world. But the likelihood, I mean, it's cut by 90%. I give the Seahawks a 10% chance to win this game.
Yeah, right now the line is 5. Pittsburgh's favored by 5 points. I love me some Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday.
Yeah. On that one, absolutely.
Yeah.
Who does that leave?
The Monday night game, Buffalo Bills in Tennessee. It's funny. This is one of those few weeks where the NFL, I think, maybe even inadvertently, really made it to where the Monday night game is better than the Sunday night game.
Yeah, I think they thought this will be a clash of the Titans.
Hey, I see what you did there.
All right. Inventing television as I go.
And
this is at the Titans.
Yeah.
And
you just talked about this is one of the possible slip-up games.
Yeah. This is one of the games where I said it's 50-50 for the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I mean, if they go into Tennessee and they put up 40 points and they win that game, the Buffalo Bills are unquestionably the best team in the freaking NFL.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm like, I don't see how anybody could say otherwise. And look, I've wanted to see success for the Buffalo Bills for a long time. I think they made some missteps, the whole Rex Ryan hire, and they went some directions where I'm like, okay, now you guys are you're just throwing stuff and seeing if it sticks. When they got their head coach and they got Josh Allen, I knew they were real. And that's when I was like, all right, we got a real football team here.
It's funny when the Eagles, because again, like I told everybody,
is it your bye this week?
No, we'll talk about them in a minute. They play Thursday night.
Oh, okay, I did the Thursday night game.
Yeah, when the Buffalo Bills hired Sean McDermott, that was the same year the Eagles hired Doug Peterson. I wanted the Eagles to hire Sean, or no, I think it was the year after the Eagles hired McDermott. The Eagles hired Peterson. I wanted the Eagles to hire Sean McDermott. I wanted him to be their next head coach. And McDermott, and then when they got Josh Allen, I thought, man, this guy might actually because all the comps were that he was comparable to Carson Wentz. And I thought, man, I think Josh Allen might be better than Carson Wentz. And right now, Josh Allen looks like the best quarterback in football. And I think we just put Jay to sleep.
No, I was reading something about what Mike Tomlin had to say about John Gruden's.
No.
Anyways.
I feel like we have to put this comment up here from Justin.
No, but I definitely think that's a hard one for me to pick on this one, but I'm gonna go with my gut. I'm gonna go with the Titans in this game.
Okay.
I think Henry and Tannehill are just gonna say, you know what, let's get it done. We need a win here.
All right. So now we'll get to our two games. The Dallas Cowboys at the New England Patriots.
Nothing to see here, folks. Should be an easy win. I think the only team that made the Pats step up emotionally was against Tom Brady. I think overall the Pats just aren't that good of a football team. They'll return to mediocrity on this game, and the Cowboys will run away, in my opinion, with probably a 17-point win.
God, I hate it when you're right.
I see some good defensive coaching coming out of the Pats, but I don't see a lot of offensive scoring.
Yeah, I think it stays close for a while, but I think
it's a strong first half.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the second half is like I said, the Cowboys just don't have good first quarters. I haven't seen.
Yeah, I could even see New England leading.
Actually, I take that back. Yeah. The Bucs were the Cowboys' best game, and people are always surprised when I say that, given that they lost that actual game.
Oh, it was a great match.
Yeah, but they played from the snap all the way through it. That was the difference in that game. Past that game, they haven't had a good first quarter in any game. But once out of that first quarter, they turn on. Diggs starts just vacuuming balls out of the air on defense. Parsons starts chasing down anybody who thinks they're fast on the field. And Zeke, we got thunder and lightning with Pollard and Zeke going on. And Dak looks extremely comfortable throwing the ball right now and being more of a pocket passer. He's looking, he's averaging 350 to 400 a game easy now.
Look,
Cowboys are in good form other than the first quarter.
Micah Parsons impressed me so much. I mean, hell, at one point watching the Eagles Cowboys on Monday Night Football, I ran down to get a beer. The man tackled me at my steps and then runs all the way back to Texas to go make a play the game.
I know, dude. There was one play.
Incredible.
I reached over to get my drink, and his shoulder pad sliced me across the face. And I was like, man, 3D TV is awesome. He said, that ain't 3D, son. And then he went and tackled the guy that was still running the ball.
And say, my God, look at that guy.
Yeah, it's safe to say CeeDee Lamb and Parsons were two excellent picks by the Cowboys on those two drafts.
Yeah, absolutely.
We haven't talked about CeeDee Lamb a lot because we were focused on Cooper most of the season. But I think it's pretty safe to say Lamb is going to pass Cooper and being the number one receiver on the Cowboys.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Cooper's consistent. He's humble. Lamb's a superstar. He's got the room to break out and be a superstar.
You know what it is? I think Amari Cooper in the perfect world is Alvin Harper to CeeDee Lamb's Michael Irvin.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. CeeDee Lamb's got that lanky, have a good time. It's like playing backyard football attitude. Cooper's a little more serious.
Yeah, more business-like.
Yeah, if you watch Hard Knocks, you saw that Cooper's got a little more. He doesn't talk a lot. He just plays. Where CeeDee Lamb talks a lot, but he's in a very joking manner in the way he talks. It's like playing with his friends
it all feels
in the backyard.
Like lighthearted. Yeah.
And that's what I want to see out of someone like him. Because Michael Irvin always had a pretty good sense of humor. So I like seeing the correlation. And he's actually trained and worked out with Michael Irvin on catching and whatnot, and been mentored a little bit. So there's some closeness there between those two.
Yeah, and you can tell that it's rubbed off on him, that attitude.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to see the Coke rub off on him, but the rest of what Michael Irvin does.
But the overall attitude that, and it's not in a bad way. It's not in an arrogant way. It's in, you do need some arrogance to make it in the NFL as a wide receiver. You got to believe you're going to win. Most of that wide receiver job is battling a guy one-on-one.
There's a reason why when you watch the show Any Given Sunday, the dude saying he's standing in the mirror, the wide receiver, going, "You're the best ever. No one's better than you." Because that's how the mentality you have to pump yourself up with when you get out there and you're running up against, corners like Diggs and people like that who are constantly just assaulting you. You've got to think you're better than everybody.
Absolutely.
It's the only way actually to play football sometimes.
And look, and like that's a good attitude you have to have, like in any sport. Hey, maybe even in life, you have to have that attitude. You believe you're the best at what you do.
Now I forgot, who is your dark horse team this year in the NFL? Who'd you have?
Arizona Cardinals.
Okay, was the Cardinals? Okay, mine's the Niners. Titans was my last year's, but then they end up being so good that I'm like, well, how can they be dark horse? They're freaking good.
Right.
So
like the Bills,
I backed off of them. The 49ers are mine. I think 49ers got a bye this week, so I don't think there's anything to say about them this week. But what I will say is they did put in our boy Lance, and he didn't look that good.
Well, and I even said at the time he was probably the least NFL ready of the rookie quarterbacks in the class. Remember, he only played one game of college football last year.
Who do you think has the most upside? Like, who do you think in the end of all these rookie quarterbacks that came out of this draft, who do you think's the one we're still talking about in 5 years playing good football?
I think there's a couple of them we're going to be talking about.
Okay,
but
give me your top two.
I'll say Justin Fields.
Okay,
and Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
Like I mean, people forget.
Notice you didn't pick the Jets quarterback.
No, it's and I like Zach Wilson a lot, but the poor guy, he's got the Sam Darnold effect. He's stuck on the Jets, and I'm just happy. Yeah, as we segue into the Eagles conversation, Sam Darnold, really found his inner Sam Darnold of the Jets, and
against the Eagles.
He channeled his inner Jet Darnold.
What was the score in your game? I remember you wanted some of the score.
21-18. And Sam Darnold threw 3 interceptions, 2 to Darius.
That is a moral victory. Even though you won, it's still a moral victory.
Hey, I don't believe in moral victories. I believe in immoral victories.
So what's your thoughts about your team right now? Short version, because I know we're running out of time. But what's your short?
Flux. It's just, I mean, it's.
Are you kind of like we're headed up? We're running on a straight line, or we're trending down?
Straight line, but I kind of like if they figure out, if the coach learns, hey, we've got to be able to run the football, then I believe this team can go in the right direction.
That was my next question. How do you feel about your coach at this point? Is
right
he the
now,
right guy?
Jury's very much out on him, and look, I've been trying to reserve judgment, but I haven't liked some of what I've seen.
Yeah, I don't
idea.
Know why. I don't know if it's because you've always had older coaches, more seasoned, that this guy just feels very foreign being the Eagles coach to me. But there's something that makes me like weary of him being your coach. But there's also a good relationship building like we've seen with Kingsbury and Murray and whatnot. Hurts being his age and your coach being his age, there might be more of a synergy there. Don't know. I don't watch enough Eagles football to comment on all that. But it does, like watching the sideline of the Eagles, I'm kind of like, wow, it's so weird seeing Peterson. And I was going to say Holmgren, but I mean Reed, because they are identical twins at the end of the day. But Reed and Peterson, I'm kind of like, man, that's like you knocked off about 25 years and got a totally different looking person. It's just odd for me. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that's the offensive coordinator. I'm like, oh, wait, no, that's the coach.
Yeah, no, that's the head coach.
Yeah. Now, hopefully he doesn't win a Super Bowl and you'll fire him.
Well, I'm kind of hoping for the opposite effect.
Hey, yeah, I'd be like, hey, win a Super Bowl. I don't fire him afterwards. Just at least get us before you head out. Let's make that the new trend. We hire a guy, we win, you're fired. We hire a guy, we win, you're fired. Let's just keep doing it. All right.
But yeah, I mean, jury's out. Like, I'm still very much in a wait and see attitude. I like this Thursday night, tomorrow night, the Eagles host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's gonna be rough. I knew going in.
Noise.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'll say in their favor is it's Thursday night football. A lot of times, weird things happen on Thursday nights.
True.
And
Thursday nights are weird. I'm weird on Thursday nights. Sometimes I'm drinking ketchup. Sometimes I'm drinking vodka. I just go with what I feel.
Sure. And I might do like a mixture while I'm at the game. Ketchup in one hand, vodka in the other, and see.
I call it a bloody Russian.
Okay. You know what? I'm not even going to ask.
Vodka and ketchup. Vodka Russian. Ketchup looks like. Oh my god.
All right. On that note, everybody, we're gonna head out of here. Yeah, everybody, have a great night. Enjoy your football this weekend. Go Birds, and yeah, have a good night.
How about them Cowboys?